Welcome to the Rock and Roll and Good News program. I am David Esposito, founder and managing partner of Harvest Time Partners and host for today's program. If you have not done so before, please review the background on the program, which is available on our YouTube channel and our website at harvesttimepartners.com. As we begin this episode, please know that you matter. Regardless of what you are struggling with, regardless of the depths of your sorrows, and regardless of how lonely you feel, the good news is that you matter. I know you may not feel it right now, but you do matter. I hope this upcoming message nourishes you in the most meaningful way to comfort you and strengthen you to keep climbing into the ring to face your battles. Today's episode is titled Tough Times Ahead. Today's episode starts with a song from Creedence Clearwater Revival, or CCR, with the song Bad Moon Rising. Please spend a few minutes listening to any version you can find on the internet. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that song. Creedence Clearwater Revival, led by lead singer John Fogerty, played together under the name CCR for a short period of about 4 years and topped the charts with an eclectic style that blended some southern rock, country rock, and blues to produce some wonderful music. It was too bad that the band members just could not get along as they rocketed up the charts, and they disbanded in the early 70s after just a few short years of amazing success. The song Bad Moon Rising highlights a common mindset that we all carry with us over our lives, and that is a tendency to ponder and think about a negative future instead of a positive outlook. Anthropologists would describe that we are somewhat hardwired to prepare for the negative as a protective mechanism from the early days of man's journeys on Earth. I'm really not sure about all of that, but regardless of the debate of the origins of our mindset, the fact remains that we all have a tendency to think about negative outcomes of future events instead of a positive outcome. This mindset can be a major obstacle for us reaching our full potential. When we look into the ancient scriptures that guide our faiths, we can find some helpful guidance to encourage us to strengthen our faith around a positive future as opposed to a negative one. Specifically, the Apostle Paul's letter to the people in a church in Corinth in the second book of Corinthians, chapter 1, verses 8 through 9, can provide some insight for us. Please find a version of this scripture on the internet. Again, it was 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 8 through 9. The background of this situation is that the Apostle Paul is working hard to spread the good news of Jesus Christ throughout the present-day Mediterranean region. Paul wrote letters to the various churches he visited to be an encouragement in their faith and provide instruction to these early churches. Paul endured some incredibly difficult moments in his journey. He had been stoned and left for dead, shipwrecked, left cold and hungry, snake bitten, jailed, beaten almost to death, and his life had been constantly threatened. Paul had every right to have a negative mindset about his future. But as we see in these few verses, he had a foundation of faith that gave him strength to endure no matter how the future unfolded. In Paul's description of his experience, he writes in verse 8, "We were crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure, and we thought we'd never live through it." For many of us, we may not have suffered the physical hardship that Paul endured, but I'm sure we can all relate to some breaking points in our close relationships, some financial or legal hardships, and some emotional distress in our lives that we felt like there is no way I can survive this one. And as the one CCR song that opened this episode says, there is a bad moon on the rise. Please take a moment and reflect at a time when you felt crushed and overwhelmed with a certain situation. Perhaps you're in a moment like that right now. The life of Paul is a great example for us on our ability to endure and keep moving forward in the pursuit of purpose. As Paul concludes his guidance to the people of the Corinthian church, his message is as relevant to us today as it was to the people back then. And I quote from Paul's message, "But as a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely only on God." We have all been raised with the expectation that we need to be able to stand on our own and make our way. That guidance is helpful for us to ensure we become responsible for the decisions we make. However, as we look to build and strengthen our faith, it is important to embrace the providence of God, who has a great plan for our lives, even when we may not be able to see it right now. We all will reach breaking points in our lives. We may not have anyone in our immediate circle of family and friends that can seem to comfort us in our struggles. Paul's message to us that can be a great reassurance is that even in our feelings of loneliness, we can always rely on God to be with us to comfort us. It is not a weakness or crutch to lean on God, and He is here for us because we matter. Please take a moment to reflect on some of the following questions. In what areas of my life do I seem to continually hit a breaking point? Is it in close relationships? Is it as a journey to find purpose in work? And how have I endured tough times in the past? How can I see myself relying on God in tough times today and in the future? As you continue along in your journey, please remember that we all find ourselves at breaking points in our journey. It can feel just like Paul did in that we are crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure. If you find yourself feeling this way, please remember that number one, God promises and is always faithful to help comfort us, and we should call on Him in our time of need. And number two, please reach out to a close friend to talk, and please consider me one of your friends today. As you continue to reflect on this message, please take a moment to search the internet and find and listen to anyone who's singing the song, "I Know Who Holds Tomorrow." There are many wonderful artists who sing this song, and please take a moment to find the song, "I Know Who Holds Tomorrow." Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this message. As we conclude this message, please know that you matter, regardless of what you are struggling with, regardless of the depths of your sorrows, and regardless of how lonely you feel. The good news is that you matter. I hope this message nourished you in the most meaningful way to comfort you and strengthen you to keep climbing into the ring to face your battles. This concludes today's episode. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive updates on new episodes, and log on to our website at harvesttimepartners.com to explore the many products and services we have to help you be your best for those you care about most. And please feel free to reach out to me directly at david@harvesttimepartners.com, or call or text my mobile number at 269-370-9275. Thank you for listening.